Alright, so um I'll make this two parts, and I know it's a lot to cram into just one, and I want to keep it under 10 minutes. One video, especially the second part. But the first part will be mainstream. What is the mainstream? The mainstream, to me, represents it's more than just saying it's the largest demographic and it's media and culture. Most people. That's a generalization. Most people. More specific thing I wanted to get to in describing the mainstream is because this seems to be most of my friends. Most of my friends comprise a demographic that is mainstream. What I mean by that is their opinions, their likes and dislikes are reinforced by the infrastructure and the unseen non-physical structures of society. What I mean by non-physical structures of society, I mean the government. When they go to vote, they are voting for someone that they identify with. As in, somebody represents their views, and that somebody is a political party member. Even if it's third party, that person is represented in the government. They have representation. I don't belong in that mainstream. I don't believe the political system has come up with a candidate that identifies with my beliefs. Maybe Mike Gravel, maybe Dennis Kucinich. Bernie Sanders is very mainstreamish, but if I had to push, I would say maybe Bernie Sanders. Although his current stance on let's go to war with Syria doesn't ring very, alternative, very, very good to me. So their views, their likes and dislikes are reinforced, they're enabled, they are, accepted by society. And that's one way, that's the main way I want to put it, is, when they go to elect a government leader, their choices are on the ballot. There's no, hesitation when they vote. They're not like, well, I don't think that any of these candidates are going to represent my views, so I can't vote for any one of them with a clear conscience, because electing one of them is still against my beliefs. That doesn't happen with most of the people that I know. Now, on to the other thing, climate change. Climate change should remain climate change. Do not call it global warming, because global warming does not encompass climate change. Climate change encompasses global warming, as in meaning that global warming can happen under the umbrella concept, the umbrella phenomena of climate change. Climate is changing, it's getting warmer. Okay, well, greenhouse gas effect is a climate change. Therefore, it should be called climate change. Popularizing it as global warming, it can be in the longer term inaccurate. For example, this global warming effect could trigger an ice age. It could very well trigger a runaway greenhouse effect, but I think that's highly unlikely. Not impossible, highly unlikely. But it can also trigger an ice age, hypothetically. One example is it shutting down the ocean current, in the Atlantic Ocean, that conveys a lot of warm water to northern latitudes and brings colder water from northern latitudes. Yeah, so I think that's a big something. That's a big something, and I can summarize it in just a few words, saying, hey, this is what you should call it. But I think that the debate on climate change being man-made or not, it doesn't matter if it's man-made or not. I believe that there are natural causes at play, and there are man-made causes at play. And it just so happens that even if you have a heat lamp under a sheet, and that sheet represents man-made effects, and that heat lamp represents, natural effects, and, all of the Earth's climate systems and the sun together in one symbol, the heat lamp. If that sheet becomes a blanket, it doesn't matter what the heat lamp is doing, because the heat lamp isn't changing very much. However, the greenhouse effect, the greenhouse gases represented by that blanket, do represent a big major change, a sudden change. And so it doesn't matter really ultimately whether it's man-made or natural. It's happening. And I've said that before, but I think a point needs to be driven home that people debating over that, it's really besides the point. Yeah, and I'll cut it short there. Under 10 minutes, yay.